Hi, this is Nadia. This is my channel. It's brand new, True Story Tarot. Thank you so much for checking in on the video. I just opened up my Lightseers deck and I saw the Ten of Cups on the bottom. And I do that. I take a little peek sometimes at the card that's left there after the last shuffle as to a little bit of an intimation about the next reading. So I'm going to say that this reading is going to ring true for someone with love on their mind. Someone catching feels already. Let's see. Let's give this a really, really good shuffle. I'll pull a couple cards for you and a couple cards for your person. All right. So just tune in, think about what it is you're looking to know. I tell everyone when I read in real life, I've been reading for just about 20 years, that some of it's going to ring true, some not. That's up to you to pick and choose. But for your own purposes, just tune in and think about what you want to know. What you want to know about the other person. You can say their name in your mind. You can think about their sign or their date of birth. And then think about what you want to know. What maybe are you not seeing, even in yourself? What does this viewer want or need to know? What can we show here today with a few cards? Let's do this. It's my favorite to read about love. Okay. This is your side, viewer. Got the Three of Wands, the Nine of Wands, Temperance. Looks like you've been waiting and watching for a while, trying to be patient. Got the Nine of Wands and the Nine of Swords on this person's side, so I'm going to say there's it's going slow, or not going. Yeah, mental anxiety, anguish. Up here, Pentacles. I want to say you never know, and stranger things have happened. Someone's being a little mysterious. I'm going to say the other person. Uh-oh. Two of Cups. Let's put this over here. Ooh. All right. Make sure you have that somewhat in view. Up here we have the Eight of Swords. Let's smush these together. All right. This is an old style read I learned about 112 years ago. I like it. It still rings true. It works for me. This is a relationship spread in particular, okay? This is your side, where you're coming from. The Three of Wands. You have options. You know it. Three is fruition. You know, it's waiting and watching for something to happen. Where you are in your heart right now, the Nine of Wands. It's like this has been difficult. Like I said, a lot of waiting and watching. What you're hoping to get from it at this point is just temperance. Perhaps just not being hurt anymore, I want to say. How you're looking at the other person. The Eight of Swords, how you're seeing them. So you feel like your hands are a little tied. But in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, I think one of the words that goes along in the original text is prison of one's own design, right? Mental anguish, especially when I see with the Nine of Swords over here. The Nine and the Ten of Swords, I've come to recently realize it's almost like there's so much mental anguish around it that it doesn't happen. Okay, and that in itself feels bad, but it's not that. It's the not happening. It's the getting stuck in the mental anguish is the thing that winds up hurting the most, rather than he said, she said, you know, abusiveness, etc. Coming down further, how you see them. Ace of Swords, I think you've had your moment of clarity. And you're able to be rational and detached. Like I said, you're waiting and watching. Temperance is your best hope. You just want peace at this point. I feel like there is affection there, with the Ten of Cups on the bottom. That's obviously, at the end of the day, is it not what most people want? That's the big question. That's what's wanted, that's what's desired here. A little bit more on this person, where they're coming from. Five of Wands. I want to say a little bit playing games, even unconsciously. This is like the tango. When you watch two people dance the tango, it's this fiery, passionate dance. It's back and forth. It almost looks like a form of a martial art. This person, they might do or say little things as if to push away. Feisty, little bits of drama. Yeah, not showing up because, oh, I've got to go over here all of a sudden. But it, like, you suspect that either consciously or unconsciously there's like an element of, let's say, playing defense, if not outright games. And as I said, where they are the Nine of Swords, this is mostly a feeling of failure. And so for that to be where they feel in their heart, I'm not going to say they're in utter anguish, but they have anxieties of not being able to do this, carry it through, carry it off. With what they're looking for, the Eight of Wands, it's like a breakthrough. Now, 99% of readers will tell you this is incoming messages, this is news, this is action toward relationship, usually. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, although sometimes I see it as just a flight. This person is just being flighty, running away. Looking up to this card up top, this is kind of like how you see them. This is a little bit of like how you two are seeing each other if you went like that, or how it feels looking at the other, etc. Now, the Knight of Pentacles. So it's a Knight card, right? So you can hope from that communication, outreach. In this deck, though, and so much is just the artwork, really just looking at it and intuiting what you can. You know, I have the books. I'm familiar with the more arcane studies and but I feel like a lot of it can just be intuition just from the images, you know. Some people can read tea leaves. But in any event, in this image, at the moment he's walking away from the viewer. In the traditional Rider-Waite, for example, and in so many other decks, the Knight may be presenting a cup. This guy's walking away. So I'm just going to say he's not quite as readily available as maybe the traditional Knight. But this Knight of Pentacles, if I said Knight of Cups earlier, you know what I meant. This Knight of Pentacles, he's a little less stoic and sturdy than the conventional, but of all the four, he's still the one who is, he takes his time the most, you know. This is, to me, Capricorn energy, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn in particular. They really take their time with picking someone because they're going to commit deeply when they do. I would say Virgo as well, although we know Virgo can be a little bit, they can play the field sometimes. And, you know, your Taurus, they have such a quotient of, how do you say, magnetism? Let's just say it, lust. So they might get involved, but they're still slow to really give themselves over, give their heart, for example. So we have someone who's a little bit, how do I want to say this? Playing games, but he's not running game, but he's just playing games. Now coming down here, you're seeing, the way you're influenced here is at the Ace of Swords, like clarity, aha moment. Also, you can't be run game on, right? You have, with these other cards down here that you have, and this Two of Swords crossing you consciously, this is the way this read works. This is what's underneath, the latent content, what you may not be fully aware of. And we have death. Death and rebirth. This is you. This is all you. This is not him causing this. This is where you're at in the context of this read, but also just one of the deep things that's going on in you right now. Death and rebirth, with that being crossed consciously by the Two of Swords, which is, to me, it's a bit of indecision. But it's because of this blindfold. And again, so between this and the Eight of Swords on your side, I would say that it's like you're not seeing the forest for the trees, or however that expression goes. No blame. And this is, again, just, I call the channel True Story Tarot because I like the way it sounds. Nobody knows what's true except for you. But it seems like there's a, you know, in this one, if you really want to look, she's not actually bound. In the mirror, she's bound. So what does that say? This is an illusion of bondage, right? And the Two of Swords, to me, from the traditional deck, it was as much or more just indecision from lack of ability or willingness to see. Moving toward this person, how they are feeling towards you, where they are towards you, the Wheel. The Wheel of Fortune. It's not that they're like comme c'est, comme ça about it. It's like, I feel like whoever's picking up on this, or whoever this is meant for, it's like we're not children, right? So this person, it's not that they could take it or leave it, it's that they understand the ebb and flow of these things and that you kind of can't force, right? Now moving down to what's underneath, what's going on in the sort of subconscious or the latent content of this person's energy or feels in this connect, in this vibe. The Page of Swords. To me, no matter what, no matter how you slice it, particularly if you see the Knight of Swords show up anywhere, which I don't in this particular reading, there's a little bit of spying, a little bit of preoccupation with the other person. Now, in this day and age, we all spy on each other. It's advisable in many ways, especially for women, to Google search a guy before you're going to date him, meet him, whatever. But between the Five of Wands and the Page of Swords, I'm going to say a little bit of like half-conscious game playing, push and pull, just not being overly available. But, I mean, that's a very old story and a very common one. I would love to see, if this reading rings true for anyone, I would just love to see them hold on to this Temperance card. And also whatever this Death and Rebirth is. I feel like this is a person who understands the score, understands the game. And there's always an element of game in these things when men and women are getting together. And even when they are together, you know, until there's not, until they've settled it. I feel like this is a person who can't really have game run on them because they've been there. This is not their first rodeo. They've been behind the curtain. They've seen the rings and the pulleys, and they get it. So basically, you know, it's like you're both just kind of waiting and watching. Now, I want to say, too, that this person, the High Priestess, let's see, this is a Major Arcana card. You have one Major Arcana card. And there's one waiting for us on the bottom, which I'm going to get to in a moment. The High Priestess. The High Priestess does not show their hand. Be they male or female, people with the birthday number 2, however you want to slice it. This can be a person who's a bit mysterious, and don't we all just love that? Guarded. Pentacles. This person, there may be a touch of depression, something going on in their recent backstory that you don't know about. This feels like a relationship that is not yet happening, not yet in full swing. I think it could, and it may want to get there, but that's what I'm getting right now, is just an admonishment to keep with this Temperance. Don't forget the strength that was brought about from whatever the most recent death and rebirth was in your life. And this could be any number of things. This could be a Pluto transit. This could be a Saturn return. This could be something personal that you've, you know, gone through and worked on. This could also be a little bit of like you're about fed up with this. You know, not disgusted, not hating anyone, but just a little bit fed up. But that Temperance, I think, has you kind of hanging on. Now, the outcome is perhaps the most beautiful and lovely and wonderful card you could possibly want to get in terms of a relationship reading. Two of Cups, I love it. It's a personal favorite. Now, that's not to say, I'm not sitting here telling you, wait for this person because love is coming. That's not how this works. That's not how I do things. You know, and this has ultimately got to be regarded as entertainment. This is food for thought. But the Two of Cups in the Rider-Waite, I still remember from when I taught myself that which is not in nature, but through which nature is sanctified. So what a lovely thought. It's kind of like the higher functions of the human mind choosing love, right? But then sort of in a contradictory sense, we get this guy on the bottom of the deck. I'll look at that sometimes, and I might pull a few more. We have the Devil. Now, the devil is not all bad. I've made friends with the devil once or twice. The devil could be that this is about sex, largely. The devil could be that one or the other has some substance abuse stuff going on. Don't get me wrong, the devil can be all bad, for sure, but sometimes not. So where are we going to lay that down? The devil, let's put him right here. Ooh, 6 of Wands. If I had to guess, something's coming here. Something with the possibility and the potential of deep connection, but I think there's a large part of it that is predicated on sex, which is okay. In a post-COVID world, a lot of us have had some interesting experiences once they open things back up, right? That's what life's all about. Now, the 6 of Wands to me is, you know, it's a wish come true. It's the heart's desire, fulfillment. What is one of the terms? Expectation crowned with its own something. It's basically kind of getting what you want. There's also an element of look at me, you know, so I think that it's entirely possible that you guys go on to get it together, as it were, whatever stage, whatever this is in. Somebody's going to get it together here, I think. Somebody's going to get something. I would say do not count on this person giving absolute full emotional disclosure anytime soon. They kind of fly by the seat of their pants a little bit too. And yet, I think they might be feeling like a little bit like maybe they've already messed this up. It's already been a little bit of a failure. And in that way, maybe they're kind of leaving it up to the fates, as it were. Being a little bit defeatist, a little bit, if you will, slightly immature. I could say that soundly between the Page of Swords, 5 of Wands. You know, and shooting up in bed at night crying, but I could maybe a little, maybe touch immature. We can all be a little immature. But it's not like you're having the easiest time with this either. Now, this particular image, she's like at peace with this difficulty, with this burden. She understands what it is. It's just a little fence in the road, unlike in other decks. I really love this deck, the Lightseers deck by Chris Ann. It's just great. It's beautiful. Let's get one clarifying card from this, the I Ching of Love. This deck is a little bit magic, and I think that it kind of speaks to me, and it doesn't lie. That's what I think. That's just me. All right. On the bottom of the deck, we have long-term commitment. I'm going to give it a shuffle. And if you can lend your imagination to just how these things might work, you can focus. Let's give it a shuffle. Let's get a little bit of advice from this I Ching of Love Oracle. One card, please, to give a little bit of light to the situation for whoever is watching that it may resonate with. And 2 just popped out, so you get a total of 3 today. Hang on. I'm going to pick them up off the floor. Okay. Under pressure. What do we have here? Long-term commitment. Under pressure. And the innocence of the child. Let's look at long-term commitment. We have 32. Let's look at it in English. Even better. The Oracle invites you to expressly avoid routine. Immersed in daily life, love dies at the outset. It is endurance. Its endurance comes from never-ending transformation and therefore a continuous renewal. Indeed, let's think about that. Let's check out Under Pressure. Situation is very serious. The difficulties seem to be insurmountable. The position you are in is desperate, to say the least. How do you get out of it? Keep a joyful serenity no matter how serious the danger is. Rooted in trust, this is the time to focus on your beating heart. Now I'm just going to put in something just as a woman and a grown-up. how serious the danger is. If there is ever any real danger in your relationship, physical or otherwise, mental, emotional abuse, please make, these such things, tarot readings, especially, certainly mine, don't let that be your guiding light. That's over my pay grade. That requires another kind of help, okay? But I'm just reading what's here in the book, and I will interpret it my own way. Now we have, lastly, the innocence of the child, 25. The hexagram evokes the natural state of things. It is an invitation to act naturally, just as a child does. This is true, irreproachable behavior. So there's a theme. I catch a theme between these three, okay? I'm reading these because I own about 100 decks. I don't have them all memorized. But this was written by someone who's some sort of a monk. In any event, I feel like there's a lot of good intention in these cards. You can kind of feel it. But what I get from this is keep it light, or keep it lighter than maybe, has been the pattern in the past. I would never say keep it light if somebody hurts you or does something whack, but just for yourself, in terms of what you can control and how you approach it, keeping it light seems to be the theme in these two. Now the long-term commitment, that's again in a way saying keeping it light. It's saying if you're looking to make something work, you have to keep yourself well and keep yourself together. What are you bringing? What are you offering? Let's do one or two of the Prism Oracle. This is another deck that I absolutely love. And we have Magic, Ideation, and Cleanse. I had just shuffled these. Let's get one just for your side and one just for their side. I love these cards. Oh boy, you have Death twice. Let's talk about that. They have Rest. Let's talk about that. Magic, Ideation, Cleanse. So it looks like to me, at some point or another, one or both parties had maybe caught up in quite a bit of a romanticism or excitement. Like this was, passionate, excited. And that's how it should be, or ideally, we want that. But there's a point where it becomes maybe too much, right? And so if we were to take this literally, if this were a message, it says to cleanse, right? So you're getting some stuff here kind of saying cleanse, right? We have your Temperance back here. We've got the Wheel of Fortune and the High Priestess. That's kind of like, as far as they're concerned, it'll happen when it's going to happen. They're not about to fold and show you their hand, and rest for them, for their side. They are not actively fully engaged in this, I would guess right now. Right? And now you have Death twice. Death and rebirth. What does this mean? Are you just about kind of done with this? Or have you detached? I see like a rational detachment, I feel like, for sure. Like you would like this to happen or have happened if it didn't. And let me say, I'm not a prophet, okay? I'm not predicting this for any, you know what I mean? Some of this is going to resonate for some and not so much for others. It's, you pick and choose, please. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. So in summation, there was some excitement, romance, what have you, passion to get this thing together. It doesn't look to me like it's really quite happening. Is it going to? Something kind of wants to happen. You can kind of decide what you want it to be. I mean, we can just go make that happen anytime we want, but is that really what we want? How often does that really work out well? Sometimes. Depends who you are. Depends what your needs are. The Six of Wands. I'm going to say too, like, make it about you and what you want. Adopt a little Leonine energy. Who's going to make the first move? Well, I hate to ask that because it doesn't look like him. I'll tell you that right now, because he's kind of like laid back in a sense of like, it's going to be what it's going to be. And this guy, if he does come around, he's slow coming. The Knight of Pentacles. And this High Priestess, in my experience, if she doesn't want you to know, you're not going to know. Do we want to pull a card on that? Let me see. What else? Let's do a Moon Oracle card in closing, just as like a reflection on what stage of the cycle this is in. Okay, here we go. Confidence is your key to success. New moon in Leo. What did I say? I said adopt a little Leonine energy. Looks to me like nobody make no sudden moves. Looks like there needs to be rest and cleanse. This person's not inclined to come rushing in as it is. And I think that you have, perhaps because of being hurt in the past and having, looks like some healing has happened with the Temperance card there, and you're still looking for more. That has to be your priority, I would think. Or that would have to be one's priority in such a situation as this, that's here in this particular story. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed your reading. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Nadia, True Story Tarot. Thank you so much. Feel free to like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it.